Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure when I let the truth go. We gon' let them know my people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, 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 I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure when I let the truth go. We gon' let them know my people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, 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 I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know your history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History.
Now we going back. heathen on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, 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 I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back, heathen on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, 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 I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back, heathen on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, 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 I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know history, history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it?
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know history, history? Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know history?
Hey, welcome back, welcome back. We are back this week. We are back with another episode of Our Hidden History Radio. You are now tuned into
Our Hidden History Radio Show.
Thank you, Laba, for having me up all weekend long. I'm tired as hell, man. My eyes are on fire.
Dang.
Listening to you. Fridays, Saturdays. No, I'm tired, man.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
You had a good weekend, Dick?
you had a long weekend.
Long weekend. Very long.
Good long weekend.
Yeah.
All praises, D.
Yeah.
So Dick and dragging himself in here.
Right.
You remember that commercial with the V8? Dragging yourself?
Yeah. All right, so we left off at Artaxerxes, which was Xerxes the First, who was known to be the wealthiest of the Persian kings that was spoken of, I believe, in the book of what was it? One of them books he read out last week.
Ezra. I think it was in Ezra.
Ezra, yeah. It
Ezra.
mentions the four kings. It was Daniel.
Daniel. Oh,
Daniel, yes. All right, so we're going to go into the book of Esther now. Esther chapter 1, verse 1. Oh, don't want to bring that out.
Bring it out, D. What is it?
No, I'm trying to think if I should bring that out. Bring it out! What America's trying to do. America...
with the
Yeah, America's trying to possibly do what the United Arab Emirates is doing. In the United Arab Emirates country over there, they have they're trying to unify all religions together as one. The
hell is this?
Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And of course, the Catholic Church is heading it. And they have like what's called anti-blasphemy laws, where you have to accept each other's religion.
Right.
You know, they were trying to push that here.
And also, I believe they have 3 different temples, too.
Yeah.
One for each religion. One for the Judaism, one for Islam, and one for Christianity.
Yep.
Right. Give me that real quick. Go back to Nelson's real fast. Nelson's with Ezra. I think it was page 156. I want to go back there really quick because I want to show y'all that America is, in fact, this is a sidebar. I don't want to take away from my class. But I want to show y'all, this is how you know America is in the Bible, because I said before in classes before that America is a compilation of every captivity Israel's been in, from Egypt, from Assyria, Babylon, which is the same thing really, and up until the time of the Greeks, the Persians, especially Persia, you know. I think it's page 156 of Nelson's. Laba's the one that gave me this book a long time ago. Laba gave me this book, the Nelsons. I forgot. He had mentioned to me that he's the one that gave it to me. I forgot he gave me this book years ago. I've been using Nelson's Bible maps and charts for like years now. But Laba was the one behind it giving it to me. Shout out to Laba for giving me the book, and shout out to Laba for my eyes being on fire right now. Just a second, just trying to find this thing really quick.
Hey D, that's that Nelson's book. That's the same book he used for a class a while ago to show that from the time period of the Persian and Mede to till Christ was 400 years.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Yes, that's the one I used.
Israel, remember to share the class.
Yeah, share the class and share. Mm-hmm.
Press the like button. So
come on, y'all. I went over to show this last week. Should be hard to find. This is Ezra. Yes. And go over. I believe go over to the next pages. Next one, yeah. It should be this one here where it mentions reconstruction. Let me see. You're right there. That's it. That gotta be it. That should be it right there. Blow it up some. Yeah, blow it up as big as it can go. Yep. And just to show y'all what Ezra and Nehemiah were going through and what they're trying to do here. You can go down. Well, this is kind of important. Guess we can backtrack a little bit. Ezra, read that real fast, Jez.
Ezra, if he in fact is the author, compiler.
No, above that. Let's say events.
Oh, events of the book of Esther from 483 to 471 BC.
Right, so Esther falls in between this time. At least she falls in between. She's around the time of Ezra and Nehemiah. That's all I want. We're going to get to Esther in a minute. Go down. Go down. Right there. What does that say? Restoration of the temple. Right there. Watch this.
The restoration of temple and people required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and her faith.
So, the restoring of Israel, the people, and the temple required a what? A what?
Required a
move me out of this. Move me out of the way.
Come on.
Required a what now?
The restoration of temple and people required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and her faith.
I'm going to emphasize this a lot. It says the restoration of our people, the temple and people, required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and her faith. So when you're restoring our people, whoa, okay, there's a lot of stuff. I'm louder and static. Okay, hello. 1 2 1 2.
That's good.
Okay, right there. It says the restoring of the temple and people required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and our faith. Go ahead, watch this.
This together with separation from other peoples and pagan beliefs.
So to restore our people, we had to separate from the other nations. We had to separate from the other nations to restore our people. Right. That's just what the Bible says. People say that's racist. Yeah, it is. It is racist, and it's okay because if you're for your race. Nothing wrong with that. It's when the Bible says, "Be at peace with all men." It's fine, but you have to be for your race. Watch this.
This restoration was taking place in the context of the Persian Empire, in which the dominant religious tendency was the merging of religious beliefs into one.
Wait, read it again.
This restoration was taking place in the context of the Persian Empire.
So this restoration was taking place in the context of the Persian Empire. Watch this.
In which the dominant religious tendency was the merging of religious beliefs into one.
So Persia's dominant strategy was to merge all religious beliefs into one. That is what America is attempting to do now. That's what these nations are attempting. America, but that's what these nations are attempting to do. They're attempting, and of course the Roman Catholic Church is heading it, because the Roman Catholic Church is the mother of Christian denominations. She's the mother. She's the mistress, okay? So the Catholic Church is by far one of the most pagan religions on the earth. There's emergence of sun worship in Judaism. That's why the Catholic Church wears yarmulkes. The so-called have been infiltrated the Catholic Church. That's why they wear yarmulkes. They wear them big old fish hats, Dagon hats. They call it what's it called? IHS. They say it's in Latin.
Iris, Osiris.
Yeah, Isis, Horus, and Set. But they say something other. They use some other. I forgot they use. They say something else.
Henry, I believe. The Catholic.
I forgot the Catholic acronym is, but it basically goes into the Egypt. The Catholic Church is heavily mingled in. That's why a lot of brothers over there, Levi, especially Levi, Haiti, they embrace the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is basically a mixture of that witchcraft anyway. Right. So it just merges together very well. All right, as well as our Northern Kingdom brothers as well who are Catholic. The same thing with the witchcraft with them as well. Merge it together.
Right. Hey, Diggin. Actually, that's one of the reasons why Northern Kingdom is so close to that religion, because it allows them to actually be at the same time like somewhat believe in God and still follow all those pagan.
Right. Like the saints, all that nonsense. All the saints, all that nonsense, and burning candles, same nonsense. Go ahead.
The various peoples of the empire were encouraged to maintain their distinctive cultures.
They were to do what? They were what?
The various peoples of the empire were encouraged to maintain their distinctive cultures.
The Persian Empire encouraged nations to maintain their distinctive culture, like America does. America says, yeah, you could be a Christian. Yeah, you could be a Baptist. Yeah, you could be a Catholic. Yeah, you could be a Muslim. You could be a Buddhist. You could be a Hindu, whatever it is. You can be in all that stuff. Watch this.
But
watch this.
Without religious exclusivism.
Right, but without religious exclusivism, meaning you, even though you are distinct, have your own faiths, you can't separate yourself from everybody else. You got to accept everybody's culture. You got to be able to, like America, you have to respect. I have to respect Islam. I have to respect Christianity. I have to respect Buddhism. So Israel, we were opposed to that stuff. We were opposed to the pagan beliefs. We were an exclusive race, and we carried ourselves in that fashion because we're the only nation of people on the earth with a God. Every else's nation, every other nation on the earth has gods made with hands, their own traditions. So Israel made it clear, your gods aren't real. Your gods are garbage. Persia said, no, you can't be like that. You have to respect everyone's faith, and you can maintain your distinctiveness, but you must accept everybody else's faith. Go ahead, watch this. Go ahead.
In this environment, the Jews experienced tremendous temptation.
We experienced, in this environment of what? Of a melting pot of religions, okay? We experienced a high level of temptation. Watch this.
To surrender all their previous claims to having an exclusive revelation from God.
Right, we had to surrender. We had a huge temptation to basically denounce us being God's chosen people. That's what happened, because now you have everyone's faith, everyone's all kumbaya and all this other nonsense, and all working together and unified as one. That would basically seduce Israel into believing, hey, we're all the same. You respect my faith, I respect your faith, we're all the same. Because all these nations and their religions are all religions of compromise. You can just be, I can accept you, you accept me. That's what Christianity does. Christianity is a religion of compromise. I'll give you an example. When you examine Muslims here in America, do they dress like Muslims? No, the women got the pants on, put the damn head wrap around, which is retarded to me. Or you'll see a Muslim walking around out here. He out here selling drugs, but he a Muslim. But you's out here selling drugs. Or they'll come out here, they'll be Muslims, but they'll mess around and sell pork. I'm like, what's happening?
The hell is this?
Because they compromise. They like look at Nation of Islam. They got 3-piece suits on. That's not how Muslims dress. But they come here, they merge the American way of life with the Islamic way of life. That's why the Arabs over there don't take them seriously. You niggas ain't no Muslims. You're not real Muslims. Real Muslims go and blow themselves up. Real Muslims put bullets in their women's head when they wear pants. But Muslims here, y'all don't do that. You're not real Muslims. You're not about that life.
Right.
But again, America is the land of compromise. America is the land of the great melting pot of nations, where all nations basically assimilate and merge into one European, Eurocentric mindset. In every religion, believe it or not, all follow suit. Whether you're Buddhist, Chinese, or Hindu, East Indian, they all wearing three-piece suits. Muslims, same thing. Christianity, same thing. Catholics, same thing. So now they're trying to. So now you have cultures, or America is a great melting pot of culture. Now you're trying to make it a great melting pot of religion. Now, watch this. And Persia did the exact same thing. Go ahead.
In addition, there was enormous temptation to surrender those behaviors, which had been designed to separate them from the surrounding pagan cultures.
Right. We had there were behaviors which had what? Which have been.
In addition, there was enormous temptation to surrender those behaviors which had been designed to separate them from the surrounding pagan cultures.
Right. What behaviors? The behaviors came from the Bible. The behaviors that made us say, listen, we're better than anybody else. We're God's chosen people. Well, our God is a true God. There is no God but Him. But Persia said, no. Everyone has a God. You must accept everyone's God. Your God, his God, her God. You must all accept everyone's God. You must be willing to compromise. And when you're living in a land where everyone's at peace because they're all being respectful of each other's gods, it's temptation now. You start feeling maybe it's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being discriminative. I should respect Islam. I should respect Christianity. No, we should not, because that's garbage. Those are devils. But the Persian captivity made it very tempting. Let's watch this.
In this context, the reestablishment of a temple worship purified of pagan religious influences and the purification of the people from intermarriage with other peoples were both necessary.
See that? So cutting yourself off from marrying other nations was necessary for the restoring of God's chosen people. You had to separate yourself because that's what Persia was pushing. Persia was pushing interracial marriage. That's what it leads to. The merging of religions and the merging of cultures inevitably leads to intermarriage. That's what it does. That's why our people had to pass a law to listen, cut the women off, cut the kids off. Because remember, when the men were marrying heathen women, the women were raising the children. Women are the teachers of children. So when we married the heathen women, well, I'm gonna get to that soon later on. So I don't go jump ahead. When we married the heathen women, our children were not raised under the laws of God. They were raised in the doctrine of their mothers. Like today, I mentioned it before about the Vin Diesels, the Mariah Careys, the Tiger Woods, that tennis player chick, forgot her name, Osaka. Right. She's the freaking worst. Going back to Aga's mama, it's the same thing. I read an article the other day, yesterday, of Paula Patton. And I was very surprised to her. She said, I don't like that term biracial. Right. She goes, the term biracial basically means you're trying to run from being black. She goes, I'm black. I'm not. I know my mom told me I'm black, and I know I'm black. She goes, I don't subscribe to that biracial. That's a way for you to run from being black. Because I don't run from being black. I am a black woman, she said. Right. And J. Cole, same thing. He said, listen, I don't subscribe to my mom's side of the family. I've always been treated like a nigga, so that's what I see myself as, a nigga, regardless of my shade. So our people, some of our people have a certain level of consciousness, despite their upbringing, and despite their mothers being the other nations. Because of course, the father, you are what your father is. But you had a lot of on occasion, you have our people who are have heathen mothers, and they basically are raised as their mother's lineage rather than their father's. Look at The Rock, for example. Mm-hmm. He's another one. He knows he's black, but he subscribes to his mom's stuff, the Samoan stuff and the tattoos over his chest, all that. That's all from his mom's side. Because he doesn't really have much pride in his father's side, because what do black folks know? Aside from being slaves, 1619, what really can you be proud of, That's how Jake looks at it, Anyway, let's go to Esther chapter 1. Esther 1.
I think I got the picture for you, the IHS.
Yeah, IHS.
Can you bring that up? And also, that's the same thing that what's his name, Nimrod. Remember, he was trying to gather everybody together.
Yes.
That's the same thing.
Same exact thing. Yes.
So there it is.
Damn.
Right, but what does the Catholic Church say that is? Isis, Horus, and Set, yes, but the Catholic Church uses the same acronym.
Right.
And they say the Holy Ghost, something, I think is...
They changed the name to...
It's Jesus.
Yeah, they have the cross with the...
It has...
Find the cross with...
it has that
IHS.
same acronym, yes.
I send you the picture.
Yeah, he had it. He had it right there.
It's the Trinity. It's pretty much the Trinity. The
yeah.
Trinity.
Go
The Trinity,
back.
right.
You look for that.
Right there. See it right there?
Come on, brothers.
No, bro.
Right there, on the right.
The sun, yeah.
See it right there? And that's like you said, that's the sun. That's
click
sun
that.
worshiping. So they changed the name, but in actuality, they're worshiping Isis.
Yes, that's it. But what's that stand for? From what they say?
I had it. They had it in Latin.
That's Latin. It's Yesu. I think it's the I is Yesu as in Jesus. The H is something and the S is something. I forgot what it stands for. But that's what it really represents. Isis, Horus, and Set.
The hell is this?
H is probably the Heavenly Father or something, and the S is.
No, it's something hominum. Something is Latin. There's something hominum. Jesus hominum. Jesus hominum. Jesus, the savior of people. I think it's hominum. Damn. Jesus, IHS, and Catholic. Hold on.
But
Yeah. Okay. It says, like you said, Jesus, Orthodox Church. Yeah, they changed that over here.
Nah, I'm finding it.
But like Deke said, it all goes back to merging the different religions, the paganism. They all merged. Because this goes back to Egypt. All this stuff goes back to Egypt.
right.
The sun, Ra,
Yep.
okay, Isis, Horus, Seth, and then they change what they do. They change the names up to merge it into their paganism, to their gods.
And that's why they worship on Sunday.
And it says,
worshiping the sun.
Jesus humili societas.
Say again?
Jesus humili societas.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, the savior of mankind, right?
Humble society of Jesus.
Yeah, the same thing. It's the same freaking
Right, they
thing,
probably done
man.
changed it up now.
Hold on, let me see. Let's be sure. Yeah, IHS is stands for Yep, Jesus hominum. Jesus hominum. Hold on.
Salvator.
Yeah,
Salvator.
Salvation.
Yeah. Jesus,
Right.
savior of mankind. Yeah, Jesus, the savior of mankind. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what it means. But it's Isis,
The
Horus,
hell
and
is
Set.
this?
Yep.
That's what it stands for. I can't find it now.
All that nonsense is merged into one.
So Babylonian gods.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying.
Yeah, they give it 3 definitions. The main one is Jesus hominum salvator.
Confusion. It's confusion, man. That's why they got 3 different names. It's
But
confusion.
it goes back to
Yeah, Jesus
Isis.
hominum salvator. Right. Jesus savior of mankind.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's really Isis, Horus, and Set.
That's what it goes back to.
Yesu is Jesus, of course, in Latin. Hominum is mankind, whatever, people, man, and then Salvator is obviously savior.
And if you're not paying attention, you see how they changed it up on you, make you think you worshiping something else, but really you actually going back to those gods.
Going back to Egypt.
Going back to
Right
Egypt.
back to Egypt.
Hey, they're gonna say also sometimes interpreters interprets the abbreviation IHS as derived from the solar idols of the Egyptian mythology.
There you
Isis,
go.
Horus, and Set.
Isis, Horus, and Set. See? There you go, man.
Dang.
There you go. And the Persian, all the nations do the same thing. They have no God, so they all bite each other. And they all go back to Babylon. All the nations take from Babylon and brought it back to their land. That's why the Lord confounded the languages. Everyone worship the same exact Trinity, the same exact gods in different languages and different times. But it's the same. That's why I remember we read earlier, but Babylon, when Babylon fell and Persia took over, Persia was worshiping the same gods as the Babylonians is worshiping. It is replaced. It's just a landlord. It's the same building, different landlord. Remember, you had Nebo, you had Bel. It's the same. They worship the same exact gods. Persia doing the exact same thing that Babylon was doing in terms of worship. The exact same thing. Assyria, the same thing. Egypt, the same thing. I got a book that lists all the gods. It's different names. I have a book. It's called Antichrist. It's called Antichrist. I think it's called Antichrist. And there's a whole list of all the gods.
Oh, that 666
Yeah,
book.
that book is that book. If you read that book, you lose your mind. Anyway, that book has a list of all the gods, and they're all derived from the same source. Nimrod. Anyway, that's the one.
The book of Esther, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia.
This is the Ahasuerus who has Xerxes the first. That's what this is. All right.
Over in 107 and 20 provinces.
127 provinces. Go ahead.
That in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace.
Babylon, Shushan palace. Go ahead.
In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble.
Yeah, one thing about Elam, boy, is Persians of Elam, they know how to dress. They know how to dress. They know how to dance. They got rhythm too. And they got some great fashion. Of course, Israel, we dress better, but all Near East, so-called Middle Eastern or Near Eastern fashion is similar. That's what I was just ribbon of blue, but we had similar fashion. Of course, we were just better. Our God is the true God, and we just better. But that's why we can walk into a so-called Elam store, Indian store, and you find a nice garment because that's what we used to wear.
Right.
You know. You say like what? You say something?
No, I'm saying, and that thing is expensive.
Very expensive.
And I went to one of them. I saw a suit that's like $1,800. I was like, damn.
And he looked better on us.
Yeah, you look better on us. Right, look better on us.
We got more swag with it.
And the material is very, very strong. Like my wife had a very, very hard time sewing fringes on it because the material's so thick and durable. Not this cheap garbage you be seeing out here, but you know Negroes, they feel skinny ass jeans is fashionable. That's garbage.
It's garbage.
The garments you see us wear, that's fashion. That's this tight pants stuff and holes in the jeans and freaking long. Anyway, I'm a sidebar, get upset. But that stuff, all that stuff. But the Near Eastern culture, like even what's the name, Muslims, like a lot of Arabs, they wear stuff like that too, similar to that. Right. That's Mediterranean culture, pretty much. Fashion. All right? Go ahead.
The beds were of gold and silver.
Damn, the beds is of gold and silver.
Upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble.
Woof, black marble. God damn. You know marble is expensive as hell, man. Yep. You get marble countertops, you're like, wow. This dude had marble beds. Go ahead.
And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another.
Maybe they had golden cups. Go ahead. This is how we used to live. Israel was ruling with Solomon and them. We had all this. David, right. We had golden cups, we had all that stuff. Go ahead.
And royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
Have fun. Go ahead.
Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to the king Ahasuerus.
So the king's having a party, and his queen Vashti is having a party for women. One for the men separate, when women have their own thing. Go ahead.
On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine,
he's drinking, he's having a good time. Go ahead.
He commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbonah, Bitha, and Abatha, Zathar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
She was pretty. Go ahead.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment.
She said no. So Vashti the queen told the Persian king, no, I'm busy, nigga. I'm my girls. This is feminism here. This is feminism right here. This blatant disrespect. So he summons her. She's like, nah, I'm not coming. She's feeling herself. I ain't coming. Go ahead.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by the chamberlains, by his chamberlains.
He told his chamberlains, tell my husband I said no. Go ahead.
Therefore was the king very wroth.
He was pissed. Go ahead.
And his anger burned in him.
You ain't like that. Go ahead.
Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, For so was the king's manner toward all that knew the law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshana, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Merez, Marsana, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom.
That name Memucan is a Native American name too. They had that name over here.
Oh, wow.
They use that name over here too, Memucan. But go ahead.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law? Because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
So his men was like, listen, not only did she disrespect you, but she disrespected your whole kingdom by doing that. By her example, she said, telling you no in front of your men. That shows a blatant disrespect for your position, your authority, and all the men in your realm. That's what he's saying. So his men were wise. Like, yo, this woman disrespected you to a high level. You don't understand what she did here. Go ahead.
For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
So they said, by her telling you no, she's teaching all the women in all your realm to disrespect their husbands the way she disrespected you. So what he's saying is you got to handle this now, because her example is gonna bring about feminism in your kingdom. That's what he's saying. Do not let this go not dealt with. You got to deal with this. You have to deal with this matter, because if you don't, it'll spread the thought that all women in your realm can go against their husbands. If you don't check it now, feminism will spread. That's what he's telling him. Go ahead.
Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
Feminism. There shall arise feminism. In America, Esau, being the god of confusion he is in this world, he allows it. He sits there. His women are unchecked. Because white women, they respect their men. Don't fall for that feminist stuff with them. They respect their men. But they teach our women don't respect their men. So this time, this is Persia. Okay, this is Persia. This is the Near East. In the Near East, the women know their place. Even to this day, they know their place. From the Near East to the Far East, they know their place. Only when you get around so-called white people, Western civilization, as they call it, is where all the confusion is. Oh, no, we have a voice. Me too.
The hell is this?
Oh, me, I have a voice, and I'm woman, hear me roar, and women power. Anything you could do, I could do better. That's all European women. That's Western women. Eastern women, no better. Western women, no less. Or at least they pretend to know less. They know better also, but they front like they don't know their man is ruling the house. But the white woman's job is to convince the black woman that she can go against a man. White women can do it because, black women worship white women. Y'all love them. You love them with all your heart and soul. And their man. And the man, too. Go ahead.
And Dick, if I may, right?
Yeah.
And you see how they shut it down quick. With the quickness. They didn't even let a day pass.
Nope.
Yo, my king, we got to stop this right now. We got to stop it right now. And they put a stop right there and then. They didn't let it grow.
Yeah.
They let it continue, yep.
Hey, Deacon, also to land back on what you're saying, they don't play that in the East. Afghanistan, when the Taliban came back into power, what did they do? They had to put the women back in check. If it was by killing them, they had to make a public example of we don't play that. Because the culture is women cannot be seen outside of without a male relative.
Right.
And remember,
or male companion.
Or male companion.
With them, yep.
And they can't go to school or anything like that. But Esau pushed the feminism over there, so they got to revamp that whole the whole culture again.
And the guy was saying that the guy that owned the clothing store, he said the women stopped buying pants.
Yeah.
Right.
When the Taliban came back here, the women stopped buying pants. They were scared. They stopped buying pants. You know why? Because they knew they weren't supposed to wear that in the first place.
Right.
See, these Muslims, they don't play with y'all. And guess what? In the kingdom, same thing again. We're going to kill y'all. I'm telling you straight.
That's right.
In that wilderness, and not even in the kingdom, in the wilderness, you're going to kill a lot of sisters. Because you're going to come up in the wilderness, try to sew some leaves together, and make sure it wraps on your fat ass, tight pants. We're going to cut your head off. Cut it off.
You're going to try to twerk, Deke?
You're going to try to pop your ass with the leaf pants. Heads are going to roll, man. You're going to take some leaf and branches and make your nails long.
Yeah.
You're going to cut them fingers off.
They were tearing down the salons down out there, yeah. Because you know how I hear where they got pictures of females like exposing their hair and all that. Actually, they were tearing down all those.
Not
posts.
Yeah,
They're
they
not
were telling all
playing.
that. They're not playing. They don't play.
They was painting over a lot of pictures.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because they had them women pictures all over the wall,
Exactly.
all in the street, and they're paying right over them.
I love it.
And you know, China's
Love it.
start doing that too.
Yeah, China just passed a law saying it's too much effeminacy being pushed into men. We're going to return back to the tradition
Traditions, yeah.
of being men and women being women. This is enough. He goes, we're going to ban Japan because Japan is up America's ass. So we're going to ban them. No, we're not playing none of this stuff. Then the Eternals, a country in the Near East, they said, listen, we don't want that movie playing here because you got the black guy, the nigga, he's the gay character in the movie. So we want that scene censored out the movie. America was like, no, it's okay. No, don't play that movie here then. And remember, they got a huge stid over there now. So that's billions of dollars lost because they're like, yo, we're going to censor this gay stuff. We don't want that stuff playing in our country.
Right.
Censor it out, edit it out, or don't bring it here. It's not going to air here. The Near East don't play that stuff. Only here, where white folks is at, women and men, do you find this gayness, this confusion. Who's the common denominator? Edom. He's the main one. And then you have Japan, Ammon, up Babylon's behind. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna fall behind America. China said, listen, you go follow America. We're not playing that here. You know? And why China? Because China is the Far East. Like I said before, Eastern culture is different. They will maintain traditional values. Go ahead.
Verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persian and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And
meaning get rid of her. Get rid of that woman. Find some, replace her. Go ahead.
And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wise shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan.
Right, I mean, he divorced her. Go ahead.
For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house.
He said a decree that every man should do what?
Should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Why? Because man always knew from the beginning of time that he is to rule the house. That is a universal law. That's universal law. Man run shit. Women don't run nothing but their mouth. That's all y'all run. The world itself is built by men. You women live comfortably in the world that men built around and for you. That's the Bible says. That's what God says. But for some reason, for some odd reason, the white woman has brainwashed us sisters into believing, hey, we're equal. We're strong. We can do what you can do. But you got these men, transgender men, saying that they're women, fighting women in the ring, and they beating women's ass, beating the hell out of you. Because you're not men. You're not men. And y'all know this to be a fact. So Persia, they said, listen, we're going to pass a law that men are to bear rule. Let me change this real fast. Let's just get it. Men are to bear rule in the house. That wasn't just a law that would pertain to just Adam and his wife. That was universal. That's universal law. Period.
You got women now. They trying to do the trades. You got carpenters.
They're not doing that, man. And that's not. But they are trying. They're trying. But most of them, when they go to school, they don't go to school for that work. That's why they say, oh, there's a wage gap. There is a wage gap because the men take upon themselves the most laborious jobs that women can't or refuse to do. Whether it be construction, lifting up big-ass bricks up the damn stairs, cement. Y'all not doing that.
Can't do that.
Y'all not building no damn railroads. You're not in the tunnels with the hard hat on, with a damn jackhammer. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. It's not. Even in the military, you can't carry a man on your shoulders the way we carry a man on our shoulders. Right. The strength level is different. I mean, it's different. And women, they know this, but the delusion, Edom women have y'all so brainwashed, man. It's sad. It's crazy. And this goes right back to that page I showed you before, Nelson's, where it says it's the assimilation, it's the huge temptation. America has adopted Persian values as well, where you must embrace all culture. And the culture, the European culture or delusion is that men and women are equal. And white women understand that that's a lie. But that's a lie that they fed y'all and y'all bought it. They sold it to y'all and our women, they bought it. And now you're suffering the most. Because now y'all the main ones walking around with no husband. You're the most undesirable women for marriage. Overweight. The men are being effeminized, raised by y'all alone. A lot of these men who make these babies are not even being raised to be men to raise the babies. So this is all systematic. It's all systematic. It's all Bible, of course. But the fact of the matter is that this stuff, the nations in the Near East, they understand the repercussions of allowing women to think that they can dominate the men. That's a lie. Only in America that the lie is fed to us. It's a delusion. It's insane. So where we at?
Genesis chapter 3, verse 16.
Read that, please.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Right, now, does every woman have menstrual? Yes. Does every woman have labor pains when she's bringing the child into the world? Yes. So that's universal. Eve is the mother of all living. That passed on to all women. That passed on to all women. Go ahead, watch this.
And sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Your desire should be to your man. Your desire should be to your man to do what? Read on.
And he shall rule over thee.
And he shall rule over you. Bear rule in his house. Bear rule over you. Women understand this. Women respect men who take charge. That's why a lot of y'all like. That's why a lot of sisters, they like what they call F-boys or gang members, because these men are they're assertive. Now, I'm not glorifying that gang life, but a lot of these men, they carry themselves masculine. A lot of the dudes is all soft and feminine. What do you think, babe? They'll cheat on that. They'll cheat on that nigga and mess around with the thug on the street because he's manly. Versus soft. What do you think? That's in the world. They don't respect you.
They'll take his money and take care of the tongue.
Right, and take care and give it to the nigga. Yes.
The rude boy. Or
the rude boy. They call them F-boys now.
F-boys?
F-boys. Yeah, that's what they call them. Yeah. But that's women like the bad boy. Bad boy, same thing.
It's not the that's not what the F stands for.
No, the F stands for something else. It's fornication under consent of the king. Fornication under consent of the king. It's that acronym.
Because right now you got this tug H. I didn't want to say the word tug homos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, homo.
The homo tugs.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the carnal sense. Women by nature submit to males, submit to masculinity by nature. Esau has reversed nature and made masculinity toxic, made being masculine wrong, evil, and made being masculine for females normal. It's not. But you only find that here. Or you only find that where Esau rules, or the Europe, the free world, so they call it. So you find this confusion. Outside of that, Near East, Far East, you're not seeing that, man. You're not seeing it. And if you're not seeing it en masse, I'll put it that way. You're seeing it, but you're not going to see it en masse, meaning a majority. You're not going to see it like that. What do you say, Jess?
Now about this, I'm sorry, I was going to sidebar with the menstrual cramps and the and the labor pains. Women, Esau's trying to reverse that. You know how they giving out different types of medicines and stuff like that. They trying to. The Most High gave this to you women for a reason. Okay, now Esau, their God is coming out with different what they call epidurals and stuff like that.
All that nonsense. It don't work.
So you can't get away from this.
It don't work. And when
Can't
you
get away from it.
You get epidurals, what happens? If some of y'all mess around get epidurals, the pain is still there and your back is jacked up.
Bruh.
Now you got a messed up back because you want to try to avoid the pain that God gave you to feel to remind you of your position, and then you get the epidural. You make one move, you paralyzed for the rest of your life. The needles are like this thick and this long.
Damn.
The needles
Yeah.
is crazy. I
Yeah.
watched them put them. It's bad. It's bad. It's painful and it's bad. And the needle is very thick and long. You sisters know what I'm talking about. And they don't do nothing. You'll sit. It's like it dulls the pain. You don't really take it away. It just dulls it. You know, they take morphine. Give me drugs.
Right.
You know, women, that pain is crazy. Give me the drugs. But again, the Lord's like, no, you're going to feel that. You know? But go ahead. Let's go back to Esther.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 2 and verse 1 and down. So the point is that the nations understand, outside of Esau, who's the devil the Bible speaks of, the god of confusion. He knows it too, but he spreads the lie that there is no, that there's equality. Equality is an illusion. It's not reality. Chapter 2, verse 1.
Esther chapter 2 and verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
Just find him a new wife. Go ahead.
And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the woman, unto the custody of Haggai, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things be for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
So the woman had to be purified for a duration of time, purification, be cleansed and so forth, to be made in order to be presented to the king. They had to be clean. Go ahead. Thoroughly clean. Thoroughly clean. Enjoyably. Thoroughly clean.
A year, right?
Yeah, a long time. Go ahead.
Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Right, so Mordecai was taken captive during the time of the king's son, Jeconiah. Jeconiah was the time when Mordecai was taken captive. He's of the prince's lineage. Go ahead.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Right, so she was his uncle's daughter. She was his cousin. Okay? The tribe of Benjamin, both of them. Go ahead.
So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together into Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also into the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and she speedily gave her all her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her, out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
So Esther gained status really fast in the king's palace at this time as a candidate for the king's wife. Go ahead.
Verse
she
10.
was purified as well under purification. Go ahead.
Esther had not shown her people, nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it.
So Esther did not reveal her ethnicity during this time. So what did Esther look like? Esther was a passer. She was racially ambiguous, meaning her lineage, you couldn't tell what she was.
And Dick, I got a book here right here, and I say the same stories, and it says, amongst all the ladies, she was the most beautiful one out of all of them.
Wow. Esther was bad. Esther was bad. Tribe of Benjamin, fine as hell.
You got that?
You
Right
cannot. Let's get it. Read it says. Among the what? Read it, Jess.
Among the many ladies thus presented to Persian monarch was a beautiful Jewess named Esther, an orphan of both parents. She was brought up and educated under the kind care of her cousin Mordecai, a man of rank among the Jews, who was at the time living in the capital of Persia.
So Esther was bad. She was a beautiful Jewess.
Amongst all the ladies.
Among all the ladies, she was the finest. But guess what? You couldn't tell what she was. Remember, the Persians, they married their own. So Esther passed for one of the Persians. You could not tell what she was. What does the so-called do today? The Israelis do? They use this history to go, let's wear costumes and incorporate that BS Halloween into Judaism.
Right.
Look, Esther, she wore a costume. She was in disguise. Yeah? Dumbass heathens, lion-ass heathens. So using Esther as a scapegoat to celebrate Halloween, but saying she was in disguise. How?
You better shut your mouth.
So anyway, Esther pretty much. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, and remember also during that time, the Persians, they were a dark nation.
Right.
They were a dark nation.
There's no way she's going in disguise and what you mud on her face. Come on, man, stop.
Red skin.
Right. Come on, stop this. So this woman passed for a Persian woman. She was the tribe of Benjamin, but she passed for something else. That's the point. Letting you know that our people had various features. And this sister particularly was ambiguous. You couldn't tell what she was. And Mordecai knew that, so Mordecai told her, do not tell anyone what your race is. Don't say nothing. Don't say a word. Whatever they assume, it's what you are. So she could pass. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
He watched out for her because she was a candidate for being one of the king's wives. Go ahead.
Now when every maid's turn was come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished to wit 6 months with oil of myrrh.
Damn.
And 6 months with sweet odor.
Damn. The whole year of cleaning, the whole year of cleanliness. Go ahead.
Sweet smell.
And with other things for the purifying of the woman.
And other things, whatever that means. Other things, shaving, whatever they were doing. Other things were done. Purifying, cleaning.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead.
Verse 13. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house.
Yeah.
In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned unto the second house of the woman, to the custody of Sheazgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Mm-hmm. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abiel, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her.
She was the baddest one. She was the finest one. So she ended up becoming the queen. Go ahead.
So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus unto his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
So she replaced Vashti as queen. Go ahead.
Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the estate of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate.
Right, go ahead.
Esther had not yet shewed her kindred, nor her people.
Esther did not reveal her race or ethnicity yet. He didn't reveal nothing. Go ahead.
As Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
Because she was like a father. He was like a father to her. That was her father.
And Dick,
basically.
you know, if she had revealed herself, they probably would be hit.
Right.
Hate her because of that.
Right. Discrimination.
Right, exactly right. That's the word.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate.
Remember, it would have been like you're replacing Vashti, your own kind, for this Jew.
Right.
So he said, Mordecai said, nope, don't tell them what you are. Let them assume that you're a Persian. Don't say nothing. Be quiet. They don't ask, don't tell. Go ahead.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
They sought to lay hands. They tried to kill Xerxes. Go ahead.
And the thing was known to Mordecai,
Mordecai overheard their plot, their plan. Go ahead.
who told it unto Esther the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
So she told the king, listen, Mordecai told me that you got these men plotting to kill you. Go ahead.
And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
Right, so it was recorded. Right, so, I want to get now.
So basically, you said Mordecai snitched? Or,
Yeah.
Or he was following Leviticus 5:1.
Right.
So because of that, the Most High blessed Mordecai and Esther, and they was able to save Israel.
Right, from that point on. Good history right here. It's good history. And you go further into it, these two men were set up by Esau to kill the Persian king. By Haman. Haman was behind these two men plotting to kill the Persian king. When you read the rest of Esther and the Apocrypha, it goes into more detail behind the plot. And that's what led up to Haman wanting to kill the Jews off. Mordecai didn't bow, and Mordecai also foiled that plan for the king to be assassinated for the Greeks to take over.
That Dig, I thought you was gonna get that. When we read about what happened in Ezra with the merging of the religions and that we separated from each other, isn't that what Haman was trying? He declared that we was a nation.
We can get it. Yeah, we
that
can
was
get that.
Separated.
Yeah, we can get that now. Matter of fact, Haman saw it as a threat. Right. Excellent. Yeah.
Esther chapter 12
Yeah, let's get that.
in the Apocrypha.
Yeah, hold on a second. Esther.
12 verse 3.
Esther 12. Well, hold on one second. I'm trying to find where it tells you he was behind there. One second. I'm trying to find where it tells you he was behind those men that sought to kill the king. It says it in here. Let me see. Yep. It's Esther chapter 12. Esther 12 and read verse 1 to 6. Then we're going to jump to 13.
Yes, sir. The rest of Esther, chapter 12, verse 1.
Watch this.
And Mordecai took his rest in the court with Gabtha and Tara,
Got it done, Tara, huh? Go ahead.
the two eunuchs of the king and keepers of the palace.
Of the door. It's the same guys. It's Gabbatha and is this Tara?
Thara.
Right. And when you go to Esther, we'll see. What chapter was this from? Chapter 2, right?
2 and 21.
Right. 2 and 21. Jump back real quick.
Esther chapter 2, verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigtham and Taris.
Bigtham and Teresh is the same as Gabbatha and Tara in Greek. It's the same people. Bigtham and Tara is the same as Gabbatha and Tara. Tara, same one, same chamberlains. Go back.
Yes, sir. Rest of Esther, chapter 12, verse 1. And Mordecai took his rest in the court with Gabtha and Tara,
Right, or Teresh. Bigtha and Teresh, same thing. Go ahead.
the two eunuchs of the king and keepers of the palace. And he heard their devices and searched out their purposes, and learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes the king. And so he certified the king of them.
He went to Esther, and Esther told the king. They did Inquisition, and they got judged and hung on a tree. Remember that? Watch this. Watch this.
Then the king examined the two eunuchs, and after that they had confessed it, they were strangled.
They were hung on a tree. Watch this.
And the king made a record of these things, and Mordecai also wrote thereof.
So the king put it in his records, and Mordecai also wrote it down. He wrote it down as well. Watch this.
So the king commanded Mordecai to serve in the court.
So because of that, he was awarded. Mordecai gained status to serve in the king's court. Watch this.
And for this he rewarded him.
He awarded him. Watch this.
Howbeit, Haman, the son of Amadathus, the Agagite,
An Edomite. Haman, the son of Amadathus, or Amadatha, the Agagite, in Edom, Agag, the child of Agag. Go ahead.
who was in great honor with the king,
Who was second under the king. Watch this.
sought to molest Mordecai and his people
Sought to harm or kill Mordecai and his people. Why?
because of the two eunuchs of the king.
Because he was behind it.
The hell is this?
He was behind the plot because he was second under the king. If the king got killed, he takes over the throne. That's why. So you thinking, oh, he didn't bow to Mordecai, didn't bow to him. That was it. That wasn't it. Mordecai was in the way. Mordecai was a problem. His people were a problem. They said Mordecai was a problem, and his people were a problem too. Watch this. 13 now, verse 1.
Rest of Esther, chapter 13, verse 1. The copy of the letters was this. The great king Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia, and in 127 provinces.
127 provinces. Go ahead.
After that I became lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world.
This is Xerxes writing a letter about the events that took place after Haman was put to death. Because his plot was spoiled. It was ruined thanks to Esther being the queen and following Mordecai's instructions. Haman's plan wasn't successful. It failed. Watch this. So Xerxes is reflecting on what happened, and he wrote it down. Go ahead.
Not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and open for passage to the uttermost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men.
Watch this.
Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Haman, that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom.
Haman had second place in the kingdom. He was right under the king. Watch this.
Verse 4, declared unto us.
So Haman declared unto the king and his counselors, go ahead,
that in all nations throughout the world, throughout the world, there were scattered a certain malicious people.
There was a certain nation of people scattered throughout all the world who he deemed to be malicious. Watch this.
That had laws contrary to all nations.
That's true. Malicious? No. Laws contrary to all nations? Yes. That's true. Go ahead.
And continually despised the commandment of kings.
He's doing the same thing that they did to us during Zerubbabel's time. Remember Zerubbabel? When the men came and said, oh, their kings have a history of rebelling against kings. Right. So that slowed down the building of the temple. Because they would come, all these people come up and slander and protest against us building the temple. And that caused Zerubbabel and Joshua a lot of interruptions, and they got frustrated. And Haggai and Zechariah had to come and check them because they pretty much lost their faith. Like, the hell with it. So of course, eventually the Lord moved their spirit, and Zerubbabel, of course, wrote that letter, and Darius gave him free course to go and continue rebuilding. Within the 7th year or 6th year of Darius, we were done. So the same thing's happening again during Esther's time, where you had the Jews during this time. I'm gonna show you what time frame this is. This is during the time of Nehemiah and Ezra. Esther, Nehemiah, and Ezra all on the same time. They're all what you would call contemporaries. They're all on the same time, just as Nehemiah and Ezra are contemporaries. You okay?
Decades from each
other.
Right,
decades from each other, about 50 years from each other. Zerubbabel and Joshua, I think about 50 years or so, Nehemiah and Ezra came on the scene. Because remember, there was like 3 different waves of Israel coming from captivity. 3 different waves. Mordecai and Esther are part of that wave as well. Ezra, Nehemiah part of that wave. Zerubbabel and Joshua are part of that wave. Okay, so read on. Watch this.
So as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward.
So these people have these laws that are contrary to all people, that the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot move forward. So these people who are scattered among all the world have a particular set of laws and commandments that cannot allow our kingdoms to unite, meaning Haman's people and Xerxes' people, because Haman was an Edomite or a Greek. That's why the white man said, take that part out the Bible, take that Esther out, because that lets the world know that the Greeks or Macedonians are Edomites. Take it out. Take it out of there. That's a problem. So, and also that it shows that we are scattered all over the world that had laws contrary to all nations. So the laws of God make it so that Israel remains separate from everybody else. That's why we showed you earlier during Ezra and Nehemiah's time, separation from heathen women was a must. It had to be done to restore the people. Intermarrying had to end. It had to be done because by us marrying other nations, we lose our exclusivity. We lose our exclusivity by doing so. Read on.
And you consenting by marrying other nations.
Right.
You're consenting to the enemy pretty much.
Right, pretty much. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Seeing then, we understand that this people alone
Stop. That this people and this people only, go ahead.
is continually in opposition unto all men.
Why?
Differing, sorry,
Go ahead. Just want to say why. Go ahead.
differing in the strange manner of their laws.
You see? So by nature, our laws make us in opposition to everyone. That's why people in Christianity, they hate God's laws. Right. Because they know if I keep the commandments of God, I gotta stay separate from everybody else. I can't do Thanksgiving. I can't do New Year's. I can't do Halloween. I can't go out and vote. I can't get high or drunk or whatever. I can't do those things. So what do? Fall behind the religion that's the most compromising. Do what I want, do what I feel, because God knows my heart. That's what they do. Or I follow Islam. You know what Islam is funny with Islam? Islam, the only thing that they can't eat is pork. But they can eat everything else. Like shrimp, clam, they can eat that stuff. There's no laws that prohibit them from eating shrimp, clam, and lobster, none. They can eat all that stuff. So I'm like, what's the difference? I mean, there's no pork. Why no pork? What makes pork any less abominable than a shrimp or a lobster? They all eat the same thing, eat filth. It doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. So go ahead, let's continue.
Roaches of the ocean.
Right, go ahead.
Differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state,
And their evil affected to the uniting of our kingdoms. Go ahead.
working all the mischief they can,
This is slander. They weren't making no mischief. Go ahead.
that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
Our kingdom may not firmly be established. The Greeks and Persians. Go ahead.
Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by Haman, who is ordained over the affairs and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month Adar of this present year.
You got to understand this is happening during the time of Nehemiah and Ezra. All this is going on. Remember, these guys are facing opposition from all different sides. Remember, they was already facing problems building the wall. They were trying to kill Nehemiah. They were trying to take Ezra out. And you read the history of Nehemiah because why? They had all these different things, a lot of things is happening during the time of Persia. A lot of things is going on. We read Nehemiah and Ezra, we're like, oh, wow, they had a hard time building the wall. There was more than that. You had this going on at Haman, Esther, all that was, the Most High was just moving things around to keep Israel safe. All that was going on. There's a lot going on during this time. All right? So Haman pretty much got put to death, and you read Esther, he failed, and that's how Purim came about. Purim is a celebration of us basically being delivered from the hands of Haman's decree to kill the Jews off, and so we celebrate Purim. That is a holiday that God ordained us to celebrate, okay? Or Mordecai's Day, pretty much. Yep. You got something, LaQuan?
Yes, sir.
So, while he's getting that, give me Esther 16, verse 10. You read earlier that he was of the son of Amadatha, an Agagite. Agagite is the child of Agag, or the Edomite king that Saul had spared, and Samuel hacked his ass to pieces. Very beautiful history. That was a very beautiful history.
The book of Esther, chapter 16 and verse 10.
Watch this.
For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us.
So he was a Macedonian. But we read earlier that he was an Agagite, meaning what? The Macedonians are Edomites. This is clear. Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians.
See what he was trying to do? So he was behind the murder plot of those two chamberlains. He was trying to translate the kingdom from out of the Persians' hands into the Greeks' hands, but there wasn't time. It wasn't time yet. The Lord was like, not yet. This guy was trying to infiltrate the Persian Empire and take it over early. But Alexander the Great came and did that. based upon the prophecy of Daniel. But he was trying to move fast. The Lord said, nope.
He wanted to be
He
him.
wanted to be him. The Lord was like, nope. Next verse.
Verse 15. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch hath delivered to utter destruction, and are no evildoers, but live by the most just laws.
Go ahead.
And that they be children of the Most High,
Damn.
and most mighty living God, who have ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner.
So this heathen king understood that the Lord was behind his people having rulership on the earth, like his great-grandfather Cyrus did. He understood. He had it written where? In the records. Cyrus wrote that. The Lord put me in this position, so therefore I want to give honor to the Lord by allowing his people to build their temple. You understand? These guys live by most just laws. So some heathen understood this. Others, primarily Edom, do not understand that. All right? So what you got there? The quote with the shores?
So, yeah, the underline. So it says this affair took place.
Go up a little bit.
To Haman, and Haman accordingly? Or the top, the king relying?
Yeah, that's right. The king, relying on the truth of the statement made by his favorite minister, and he offering to pay into the king's treasury 10,000 talents of silver.
So Haman was a prime minister to the king.
To pay necessary expenses. The king gave him the power to do as he thought proper. And Haman accordingly appointed a day for the total extermination of the whole Jewish nation. This affair took place in the 12th year of the king's reign, and about 5 years after Ezra had received his commission to go to Jerusalem.
There you go. That's the time frame. About 5 years after Ezra had received his commission to go to Jerusalem.
Man, that was close.
That's real close. That was real close. 5 years after Ezra received the commission to go to Jerusalem. So as Ezra is coming to help rebuild the walls.
So they was fighting on both
fighting
sides.
on both ends. Yeah, war on both ends.
In Jerusalem and in Persia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fighting for our lives.
Yeah.
Damn.
Fighting for our lives, man. Trying to live.
So basically those same men that was up under the king were the same they had, because the king, king got governors set up around in our land too. So they all at the same time coming against us.
Right.
On both ends.
They were the ones sending letters to try to stop the rebuilding of the temple.
And then Haman came with this thing that said, oh, okay, we can kill you guys off. All right, so Nehemiah and them had to arm themselves.
Damn.
Nehemiah and them had to arm themselves. We get to arm ourselves. These guys are trying to pick us out.
Total takeover.
Right. So a lot of things. So a lot took place in between that time.
Kill
What
the
time
king
is it
of
now?
Persia, and then start rebuilding the temple.
We're building the walls.
The walls of
during
the
this time.
temples.
The walls, right, and the houses that were burned. Where we at?
Verse 17.
What? Esther?
Yes, sir. Chapter 16.
That's all I wanted. Give me Nehemiah 1. Nehemiah 1 and down. Now I know why they have Esther next to Nehemiah. It's right there. Because it's all the same time frame. Now you know why.
Nehemiah chapter 1 and verse 1. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. And it came to pass in the month Chislew, in the 12th year, as I was in Shushan the palace.
Shushan the palace, that's the same place. Go ahead.
That Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity, in the provinces, are in a great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept, and mourned certain days, and fasted, and prayed before the God of heaven, and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God, that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Let thine ear now be attentive, and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear the prayer of thy servant, which I pray before thee now, day and night, for the children of Israel thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments which thou commandest by thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations.
Yeah, he did. Go ahead.
But if ye turn unto me, and keep my commandments, and do them, though there were of you cast out unto the uttermost parts of the heaven, yet will I gather them from thence, and bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there. Now these are thy servants and thy people, whom thou hast redeemed by thy great power, and by thy strong hand. O Lord, I beseech thee, let now thine ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant, and the prayer of thy servants, who desire to fear thy name, and prosper, I pray thee, thy servants this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. For I was the king's cupbearer.
So Nehemiah was the king's cupbearer. Who's the king was he the cupbearer of? Xerxes. The same Xerxes and Esther. Same king. King Artaxerxes. Go ahead, watch this.
Nehemiah chapter 2 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid.
You're killing the mood, bro. Why you walking around sad for? I'm drinking here. You walking around with a sad look in your face. So you got scared. Go ahead.
And said unto the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad, when the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then the king said unto me, for what doest thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. And I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him.
Now, I'm wondering why that's written there. The queen also sitting by him. I'm be surprised if that queen was Esther.
Dang.
I'd be surprised if that was Esther sitting right there.
Hey, Dick, let me show you this right here.
There we go. Got more. And the quad on fire with the books today.
Off the clock trying to put this whole book up.
I know,
All
man.
praises, all praises.
So this is you just said you don't know why is what there. Well, this is what this book says that. Oh yeah, let me put it up.
The queen sitting by him. The queen sitting by him. So remember Esther, when he's drinking wine, all that stuff, and had the golden vessels. Who do you think was pouring those cups? That was Nehemiah and them pouring cups.
Damn, so that's heavy. The Most High probably had us all
Yep, in the same
in the
place.
same place at one time.
Nehemiah and Mordecai was in his court.
King don't know what to do.
But Mordecai was in his court. Nehemiah was pouring his glass. Esther was sitting next to him.
Yo, read that from Nehemiah was the son. Right there.
All right. Nehemiah was the son of Hekeliah, who was one of the captive Jews carried in early life to Shushan, the metropolis of Persia. He had been fortunate in obtaining an appointment in the Persian court.
Yep.
And he chose rather to continue in his office at court than to return with his countrymen to Jerusalem.
He chose to stay in Babylon. He lived well there. Got a job. Go ahead.
Nehemiah was born at Shushan.
So he was born there.
He was born in Shushan, the palace. That's Babylon. Go ahead.
He was a man of public spirit, learning, and piety. He was appointed cupbearer to the king of Persia.
That's why the queen was sitting next to him. Because he was serving the king while she was in his presence.
So that brought him he was able to get closer
Right.
to the king by being the cupbearer.
Right.
He was appointed cupbearer to the king of Persia. In this office, he obtained the royal favor, which made him much beloved at court. And he thus became a man of great influence in the position of considerable wealth.
In the possession of considerable wealth.
In the possession of considerable wealth. Nehemiah had never seen Jerusalem, although his ancestors had lived and died there. He, however, had at times expressed himself kindly, deposed towards his brethren.
That's
that's
awesome.
it.
So Nehemiah was born in Babylon pretty much. He left. Esther and Mordecai, they stayed there. But Nehemiah left and went to Jerusalem to build.
And he never seen Jerusalem.
He never seen it.
He heard the stories and read the history.
Right. So when he got word that it was in shambles, he started crying. All right. So let's go back.
Verse 6. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, for how long shall thy journey be? And when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time.
So he got time off from work. He got time off from work to go and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. He got time off from work. Go ahead.
Moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governor.
Wait. Verse 6. Go to Nelson's. Start at verse 6. Go to Nelson's Bible Maps and Charts. Get page 162 and 164.
And in verse 6 says, and the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him. Notice they put it in parentheses.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it's important. It's an important note. Right. The queen sitting by him. That's most likely Esther. We're on page 162 of Nelson's Bible Maps. What time is it now?
2:40.
All right, 2:45. I'll take a bit of a break. Yeah. We'll read this and we'll take a break real quick. If you have any questions you have regarding the class, you can call us at 267-702-6121. That's 267-702-6121. For any comments. So page 162 to 64. Blow it up, son. All right. All right, so we have here part 1, the reconstruction of the wall. Chapter 1 to 7. The preparation to reconstruct the wall.
We're reading this.
I'm just looking here.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Part 2. You go to Persian Kings. I don't know why would you go here for. I didn't write it down, but we'll just see. Persian Kings. Read that.
Persian Kings. The events of the book of Ezra begin during the reign of Cyrus, 538 BC. Mm-hmm. The book of Nehemiah fits within the reign of Artaxerxes I of Persia, 465 to 24 BC. Esther was Artaxerxes' stepmother, and it is possible that she arranged Nehemiah's appointment as the king's cupbearer.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. That's why I wanted this page. There you go. Read it again.
I'm going to read up from the top. The events of the book of Ezra begin during the reign of Cyrus, 538 BC.
Zerubbabel and Joshua.
The book of Nehemiah fits within the reign of Artaxerxes I of Persia, 465 to 24 BC. Mm-hmm. Esther was Artaxerxes' stepmother, and it is possible that she arranged Nehemiah's appointment as the king's cupbearer.
Go ahead.
Nehemiah left Persia in the 20th year of Artaxerxes, chapter 2, verse 1. Returned to Persia in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes.
He returned back from his time off work. Go ahead.
Chapter 13, verse 6, and left again for Jerusalem after certain days.
He got more time off from work to go back and continue. Go ahead.
Chapter 13, verse 6, perhaps about 425 BC.
Right. So when he went back to work, within that time frame, Israel started going the hell off again. So Malachi stepped in his place, and that's when Malachi takes place. After Nehemiah was gone, Malachi started checking them again because Nehemiah was in Nehemiah's absence. Malachi steps in. Okay? Because after certain days it says. All right? So now, that's what I want that for. Go to, what page was that? 162. Okay. Go over.
Hey, Deke, man, I just ordered this book, man. Waiting for it to come.
This one here?
Yes, sir.
This book is bad, man. Got some stuff in there, boy. Read that, Nehemiah the servant.
Nehemiah the servant, an important and loyal servant of the king of Persia. Nehemiah was the cupbearer whose work protected the king from poisoning.
That was his job, to protect the king from being poisoned. Go ahead.
His duties of selecting and tasting the king's wine gave him constant access to the king.
Mm-hmm.
Nehemiah also proved himself to be an important and loyal servant of God and the Jewish people.
That's right. He was loyal to his job and loyal to his people. Go down. You see right there. Was it said the timeline there? Was that there? That's all right. This be Nehemiah's reconstruction project.
Yes, sir. Nehemiah's reconstruction project. Many geographical landmarks in the city of Jerusalem are mentioned in book of Nehemiah, chapter 3, verses 12 to 18. Chapter 12, verses 27 to 39. As reconstructed by Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. The post-exilic city of Jerusalem was considerably smaller and less grand than the city which fell to Babylon in 586 BC.
Mm-hmm. So it was a significant damage, significantly smaller than what it was. But we still have, you see Nehemiah, right? This is Nehemiah's time, how he's building the walls all around. That's the outline of what he was doing. This book is pretty detailed. It's very good. I love this book. I use it a lot. I use it a lot during my classes. All right. So what page is this? Go to the next one. Next page. Read that. 164. Esther.
Esther. God's hand of providence and protection on behalf of his people is evident throughout the book of Esther, even though the name of God does not appear once in the work.
It does not, but you know God was involved in it. Go ahead.
Haman's plot to destroy the Jews brings grave danger to God's people and is countered by the courage of Esther and the counsel of her wise cousin Mordecai, resulting in a great deliverance. The Jewish feast of Purim becomes an annual reminder of God's faithfulness on behalf of his people.
Right. Go ahead.
The author. While the text of Esther does not specify the author's identity, the writer's knowledge of Persian customs, the palace at Susa,
There's a Shushan, same place.
and details of the events in the reign of Ahasuerus indicate that the author lived in Persia during this period.
Right.
The obvious Jewish nationalism and knowledge further suggests that the author was Jewish. Ezra and Nehemiah have been suggested as possible authors,
It's a possibility. Go ahead.
but the style of Esther differs markedly from Ezra and Nehemiah, and any precise identification remains speculative.
Okay. Go ahead.
Date. The events described in Esther occurred between 483 to 473 BC and fit between chapters 6 and 7 of Ezra.
There you go. So Esther falls in between the chapters of Ezra, chapters 6 and 7. She falls in between that time. Go ahead.
Between a first return led by Zerubbabel and a second led by Ezra. That the author speaks of King Ahasuerus in the past tense, chapter 1, verse 1, suggests that the book may have been written during the reign of Artaxerxes I, 465 to 424 BC.
Artaxerxes' son. Go ahead.
Linguistically, the book may be dated to the latter half of the 5th or the early 4th century BC. Okay, themes and literary structure. Historically, the book of Esther unveils a segment of Jewish history occurring during the Jewish captivity in Persia. It provides the only biblical portrait of the vast majority of Jews who chose to remain in Persia rather than return to Palestine.
Go ahead.
Although there is little reason to doubt its historical character, the book of Esther is also a finely crafted literary work in which the author presents a...
That's all. That's all I got. Anything else? All right, so we're going to take a quick break, y'all. It's 2:45, 2:47. Take a quick break, y'all. We'll be back. So stay tuned, and we'll see you then. All right? Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Deacon Nathan here at YUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned in to Our Hidden History Radio, where we go into deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible, hidden artifacts, archaeology, or geography, or you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible. We go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, Most High Christ bless.
Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, guys, we're about to start in a few minutes. Please settle down. I hear a lot of talking. Everybody's textbooks should be open. Settle down, settle down. Okay, class, welcome to Biology 102. My name is Professor Michael Jarinkin, and today we're going to be discussing the different components of the cell unit. All right, please open up your textbook to page 214, diagram 1B, okay? And today we're going to discuss the different structure of the human cell. Who can show me or discuss and explain thoroughly the different structures, the 4 components of a human cell? You?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, okay, you have to write this down, guys.
Write this down.
Get it in A, check it out A, get it in A, check it out A, it's going down A, mash it up A, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You are now flying.
Where my captain at?
Southwest!
Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too loud, too lit, move with the body. Bible with the pins in a black bag. Dance, 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 dance real fast. Zonovan book, yeah, I got that. Hold up, that's an Israelite starter pack. Passover dance with a staff in hand. Feast day show for a contraband. Dancing like I'm trying to see the homeland. Pentecost first fruits to the big man. Nobody party like an Israelite. Fist in the air like it's time to fight. Northern Kingdom trying to party with the Judites. Bop, 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 bop on my Benjavites. We ruling like Wakanda in the king time. Meanwhile, he told us we can party in the meantime. All the Lord feast probably start around your bedtime. Dancing in the field like a band when it's halftime. You ain't got no wine, here, have mine. Don't talk about your sorrow, this a bad time. Look, I'm just trying to tell you that it's hard time for us to battle to this beat like it's drumline. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body.
Dance floor time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine, and Bacardi. If you're not turn up, then you are granddaddy. We living in the truth. We full up of the style and we dripping with the juice. And me with the most I choose, make me happy, so me dance and sweat till me slipping in me boots. Yeah, party, and in a party we have fun and a dancing where we a dance till we see the sun. Party where we a party and have fun, and we not go left the party till it done.
Get it in, hey, check it out, hey, get it in, hey, check it out, hey, it's going down, hey, mash it up, hey, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up, get it in, hey, check it out, hey, get it in, hey, check it out, hey, it's going down, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up.
Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body.
Wake up! Gentlemen, this is a grad school program. This is not high school. This is not elementary school. I expect all of you to be fully awake and attentive. Matter of fact, everyone is dismissed, with exception to you, young man. Listen, I don't know what you were doing, if you were partying all night. However, you need to be awake for this class, all right? Check it out. You better get it in and focus, or your grades will go down. You understand? You're dismissed.
have saved us and called us with an holy calling.
See that? Who have saved us and called us with an holy calling. Some of y'all talking about you want a call from the mayor so you can go visit the mayor. You want a call from the president so you can go see Obama. Are you kidding me? You got the highest calling on earth. God is calling you.
I had to push. Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Glory to the Father, love for the Son. Hold fast to what I have until He comes. Push. I had to push. I had to push. Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Push.
Go ahead and accept the fate. Some of y'all gon' reprobate. Some of y'all just can't relate. Boxed in like a featherweight. The prophet's back here to dominate. Eat cold cuts on the Sabbath day. Restitution is right on time. You know the Most High, He ain't never late. 2/3 on the open fire, while the 1/3 seen lamb and steak. I drink wine from the true vine. Read the Bible twice, now I'm awake. The 12 tribes, yeah, we here to stay. That's the punchline till we get the gate. I'm reaching for the kingdom so hard, I done damn near tore my shoulder blade. Deacon told me to hold the line like Spartacus, I ain't going away. By the way, them was Israelites. Tell Russell Crowe to his damn face. Surely his father have inherited lies. Now we checking everything he say. Show me proof of identification on his back to the Caucasus Mountain.
Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Glory to the Father, love for the Son. Hold fast to what I have until He comes. Push. I had to push. I had to push. Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Push.
Read 4 chapters just to start them. Put 2 perfect precepts just to warm up. Ephesians 5, I got that water. Once you make you clean, you want that order. You got to push, turn it up. Get you some faith and then run it up. You gon' need it when they come at us. Boat on the wave, but I ain't no slave. King Z, cause the T silent. Crown tall, walking with the giants. Man swing, I'm a young lion. Waiting on Christ, that's perfect time. Boots on the ground for real, yeah. It's going down for real, yeah. Prophets, they rolling, they knowing the drill, yeah. Babylon falling, let's go for the kill, no breaking the seal.
Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Glory to the Father, love for the Son. Hold fast to what I have until He comes. Push. I had to push. I had to push. Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Push.
What club was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that.
Look at these charts.
Damn it! Drop another album.
Look at the charts, man.
Yes.
Original royalty is still at the top of the charts. Ah! What are we gonna do? We tried Kid Cudi in the dress. Yeah. We tried Lil Nas X. Nothing is working. The Benjavites dropped the 5th album. Why? 149 and 1 really won't stop with the damn hits.
All right. I hear myself. Are we back on? They can hear me? I can't hear me. All right. We're back. Where we at? Just left Nelson's. Give me Ezra 263. There we go. Thank you. Give me Ezra 263. Yeah. And Nehemiah and Ezra on the same time.
The book of Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 63. And the Tershatha said unto them, that they should not eat of the most holy things, till there stood up a priest with Urim and with Thummim.
Right. So Tershatha or Tershatha means governor. It means governor. Give me I sent y'all a link in the group me. See what that word means, where it comes from, what it is. All right, let's show what it means, because so Nehemiah leaves. He gets leave of the king, and he gains position of authority over Israel to rebuild the walls and so forth. And he becomes the Tershatha. Okay, so we're gonna find out what the Tershatha is. The Tershatha, my Bible has governor here. Pardon me. Each time I yawn, I just blame Labo.
Y'all got it?
Yes, sir. Deja vu. Yeah. They don't let you go through? Website's different. Website's weird. Website is very weird.
But it's heavy how the Most High, how he had everybody contemporarily raised up at that time.
Yeah.
All the different leaders at that time period, man, around each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right.
Close to the king.
Yeah. Tershatha.
Tershatha, title of a Persian governor.
Title of a Persian governor. Go ahead.
And some of the chief of the fathers gave unto the work. The Tershatha gave to the treasure 1,000 drums of gold, 50 basins, 530 priest garments. Nehemiah, chapter 7, verse 7.
Right, so it's a governor, pretty much a Persian title for governor, okay? That was Ezra 263. Let's get First Ezra 5:40. First Ezra 5 and 40. So you had Nehemiah and Ezra, right? So First Ezra 5 and 40.
First Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 40. For unto them said Nehemiah and Azarias that they should not be partakers of the holy things, till there arose up an high priest clothed with doctrine and truth.
Right, Urim and Thummim. Read it again.
For unto them said Nehemiah and Azarias that they should not be partakers of the holy things, till there arose up an high priest clothed with doctrine and truth.
So who's Azarias? Azarias is the Tershatha. That's Nehemiah. Okay? Azarias is Tershatha. All right? Who was also Azarias? Nehemiah, my Bible says Nehemiah, who was also Azarias. Azarias is another term for Tershatha. All right? It's the same exact thing. The term is the same exact thing. Azarias, or Tershatha. Same exact thing. All right? Give me Nehemiah 8 and 9. Nehemiah 8 and 9. So it's the same person.
Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 9. And Nehemiah, which is the Tershatha, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people, said unto all the people, this day is holy unto the Lord your God. Mourn not nor weep, for all the people wept when they heard the words of the law.
Right, so Nehemiah, which is the Tershatha. Nehemiah is the Tershatha or Azarias. All right, same exact thing. Get me chapter 5:14.
Nehemiah chapter 5 and verse 14. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year even unto the 30th year of Artaxerxes the king, that is 12 years, I and my brethren have not eaten the bread of the governor.
Right, so Nehemiah was appointed as governor. Same thing, get 13 and 6.
Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 6. But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king.
Right, so Nehemiah was gone during that time. Israel started stepping right back into their wickedness, and the Lord raised up Malachi to keep them in line until Nehemiah was able to return. All right? So that's when Malachi takes place in that situation. Now go back to Bible Maps again. Go back to Bible Maps again. We're going to get page 159. Page 159. Yeah, read that.
Nehemiah, contemporary of Ezra, and cupbearer to the king in the Persian palace, led the third and last return to Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile. Granted permission by the Persian king to return to his homeland, Nehemiah challenged his countrymen to rebuild the shattered walls of Jerusalem. In spite of opposition, the task was completed in only 52 days. By contrast, the task of reviving and reforming the people of God demanded years of Nehemiah's godly life and leadership. The book of Nehemiah is a complement to the book of Ezra. It provides additional information about the religious and social reforms that took place in Judah and Jerusalem in the mid-5th century BC. The book derives its present title from the main character, Nehemiah, whose name appears in chapter 1, verse 1. Originally united with the book of Ezra in the Hebrew text, Nehemiah was treated as a separate book when the scriptures was translated into Latin.
Okay, so it's really the same book as Nehemiah. That's why it's referred to as really Ezra and Nehemiah is really referred to as first Ezra and second Ezra, and the Apocrypha is third and fourth. Go ahead.
Author. Because Ezra and Nehemiah were treated as one book in the Hebrew text, and because the two books show certain similarities in style and outlook, many scholars have believed that Ezra and Nehemiah were originally compiled by the same person, probably Ezra.
Or Nehemiah. Go ahead.
It's important that chapter 1, verse 1 describes the contents as the words of Nehemiah. This assertion is supported by the narrative about Nehemiah being in the first person. Thus, if Ezra was the compiler, he was apparently quoting directly from the writings of Nehemiah. Nehemiah held the very responsible position of cupbearer to King Artaxerxes. This was evidently more akin to being a personal advisor than merely something like a butler. That the king eventually made Nehemiah governor of Judah bears witness to his considerable administrative abilities. Frequently, the cupbearer was also a eunuch. And this may explain why there is no reference to Nehemiah's family. Wow.
See that? So a lot of people are eunuchs. Nehemiah, Daniel and them, eunuchs, possible eunuchs. That's why there's no record of Nehemiah having any kin. Because they cut us and clipped us. Go on next page, 161, the main page. We can go down to go down. Or go up. I'm sorry, go down, down, down. Right, yeah, go down more. Is that it? What page is that, 160? Go to 161. 161. You don't have 161?
Y'all have it or y'all don't?
You have it. I figured I have that, yeah. You read it already? Is that what it is?
There it is.
Okay, there it is. Hold up. You see that? Go up. Yep. Right there.
Date. Nehemiah is closely associated with the ministry of his contemporary Ezra. As a priest, Ezra helped to bring spiritual revival.
So as a priest, Ezra brought the spiritual revival. Go ahead.
Nehemiah as governor helped to bring physical and political reconstruction, and led the people in moral reform. Together, they combined to make an effective team in rebuilding the post-exilic remnant. Malachi, the last Old Testament prophet, also ministered during this time to provide additional moral and spiritual direction.
So you had Esther, Nehemiah, Ezra, and Malachi, all the same place. Okay.
The book of Nehemiah focuses on the events surrounding the third return from the exile.
The third return, there's 3 waves. Go ahead.
In 444 BC. Nehemiah served twice as governor of Judah. His first time as governor spanned 12 years, chapter 5, verse 14, and ended when he returned to Babylon, chapter 13, verse 6.
Earlier today, we just finished reading those 2. Go ahead.
He then returned to Jerusalem after certain days. If the king was still Artaxerxes I, as seems likely, then Nehemiah's second governorship began prior to 424 BC.
Watch this.
When the king died, thus the book of Nehemiah was probably written between 430 and 420 BC.
Watch this.
Themes and literary structure. The book of Nehemiah completes the historical account of God's people in the Old Testament, about 400 years before the birth of the promised Messiah.
For 400 years, this is 400 years before Christ was born. This event took place 400 years before Christ was born. Keep that in mind.
That's great.
400 years. Give me First Esdras real quick. Second Esdras 7:28.
So before, prior to Nehemiah and Ezra, remember it says Nehemiah was set up as the governor, then Ezra was set up as the priest to give the spiritual side of things. Just like, remember, you had Zerubbabel, and then you had Joshua.
Right, same thing.
So it was the same situation. Most High, he always kept it, the 2 leaders.
That balance.
The balance.
Second Ed.
Seemed like one was a military part and the other one was a spiritual.
Right. Advisor, right. Second Ezra 7, verse 28 and 29. It says 400 years before the birth of Christ, this took place. Ezra and Nehemiah. So you count from Ezra and Nehemiah, 400 years after them, Christ is born. Why is that important? Second Ezra 7:28.
Second Ezra chapter 7 and verse 28.
Bring it out.
For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him.
That's the disciples. Watch this.
And they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Within when?
400 years.
They shall rejoice 400 years after you, Ezra. My son Jesus and those that are after him shall rejoice within 400 years.
Bad.
See? 400 years. Go ahead.
After these years
and after those years, go ahead.
Shall my son Christ die.
After these 400 years, he's going to come into the world and he's going to die. Go ahead.
And all men that have life.
And the disciples will be, some of them will die, most of them will die too. Within that 400 years. That's all I want right now. That's all I want. Let's go. Let's get out of there. So y'all start asking questions. Malachi 1 and 1.
Don't worry, D. We get you after the show. It's too late.
Malachi 1:1.
Yeah, we have mercy, Dick inside.
Malachi 1, verse 1 to 8.
Yes, sir. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau.
Go ahead.
And laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Give him a desolate wasteland, mountainous wasteland to live in. Go ahead.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished.
Edom says, we are poor for now. Go ahead.
But we will return and build the desolate places.
We will begin to return back to our position of authority in the earth and build the desolate places. That'll be Europe. That goes into Europe. That goes into them taking over this land over here, taking Jerusalem, and so on and so forth, and gaining authority on the earth. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
During the Renaissance, it started in the Renaissance. They conquered the Moors. The Holy Roman Empire was overthrown, and it built from there. Go ahead.
They shall build, but I will throw down.
Once they build up, I will throw them down. Go ahead.
And they shall call them the border of wickedness.
Meaning the beginning and the end. The border means the beginning or end of something. So this nation, Edom, are the border of wickedness. That's why I said earlier, wherever you find confusion in the earth, or especially when it comes to the sexes, the main common denominator is the so-called white race. There's no other race that does that. Every other race of people understand the role of man and woman, but the white man turns around and says, no, you're gender fluid. You are what you feel. You have a peeking pair of balls in your pants, but if you feel like a woman, you're a woman. Only Esau pushes this nonsense. Everybody else is familiar with what a man is. Everybody else on earth is familiar with what a woman is. But the Edomite man and woman feel a tendency to spread confusion on the earth and say, no, you are what you feel, and brainwash dumb niggas, and they repeat the nonsense the white man says along with his woman. When every other race understands the order of operations, but dumb niggas and white people. All right? So, he's the border, he's the beginning and end of wickedness. Once he's gone, wickedness is over. Continue.
And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever.
And the people whom God will hate forever until they're no more on the earth. Read on.
And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you, O priests, that despise my name, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name?
Because when Nehemiah left, the priests started going the hell off. They started swaying away. Remember, Nehemiah was gone. So once Nehemiah was out, it felt free. Okay, we can go back to what he was doing before. Go ahead.
Ye offer polluted bread upon my altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? And that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible.
We hate serving the Lord. We hate doing offering sacrifices. Watch verse 8.
And if ye offer the blind for sacrifice, is it not evil? If ye offer the lame and sick, is it not evil?
Watch this.
Offer it now unto thy governor.
Offer what?
Offer it now unto thy governor.
Offer it now unto thy governor. Why don't you give this to Nehemiah? Why don't you offer this to him? Why don't you tell Nehemiah you're doing this? Because Nehemiah wasn't there. Go ahead.
Will he be pleased with thee, or accept thy person, saith the Lord of hosts?
Will Nehemiah be okay with this? With you guys doing this? No. Nehemiah will lay hands on you because Nehemiah was whipping people's ass. Nehemiah will hurt you. Why don't you tell Nehemiah what you're doing? Because Nehemiah was gone temporarily. So Malachi had to hold it down while Nehemiah was gone. That's why I said, will you offer it to your governor? That's Nehemiah there. All right, now, chapter 2. We don't.
Verse 9.
No, go to chapter 2, verse 1.
Yes, sir. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If ye will not hear, and if ye will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart.
Give glory to his name means offer upon the altar. Doesn't mean you say a name a special way or some special pronunciation. It's going right back to chapter 1, verses 6 down to 8, giving glory to his name. Go ahead.
Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces.
Damn. I'm sorry, Laquat. You know what's happening, man. At this point, man.
That's exactly how it is in Haiti.
Bro, it's bad.
They're literally putting dung in their face.
Yeah, Levi. This is the Lord debasing Levi. You guys did not take your priestly duty seriously. And on the time to come, I'm going to have you guys debased in base conditions, putting dung in your face.
And they're literally doing that.
And they're doing it now, yes. Go ahead.
Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces.
I will corrupt your seed. Your children will be corrupt. Eating people now and cooking and killing each other over there. Corrupt seed. Go ahead.
Damn.
Even the dung of your solemn feasts.
Damn, bro. Come on.
Damn.
And one shall take you away with it.
Right.
And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name.
He was, go ahead.
The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth. For he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts.
That was Levi's job. Go ahead.
But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people.
You debased us. You debased Levi, go ahead.
According as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Have we not at all one Father? Have not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother, by profaning the covenant of our fathers? Judah have dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah have profaned the holiness of the Lord, which he loved, and have married the daughter of a strange god.
Because Israel was intermarrying with the other nations. Remember, during the time of Persia, that was Israel fell into that temptation, intermarrying and so forth, assimilating into society. That's what Israel was doing during this time. Go ahead.
The Lord will cut off the man that doeth this.
The Lord will kill the man that does this. Go ahead.
The master and the scholar out of the tabernacles of Jacob, and him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And this have ye done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, and with crying out, and so much that he regardeth not the offering any more, or receiveth it with good will at your hand.
He doesn't want it. Go ahead.
Yet ye say, wherefore?
Why, we say?
Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously.
The wife of our youth is the wife of our beginning, meaning our own women. We dealt treacherously by not marrying our own women and marrying other nations aside from them. We dealt treacherously with our women. Go ahead.
Yet is she thy companion.
Yet is she your companion. She is your kind. She is your woman. I made her for you. And you're neglecting her for other nations' women. Go ahead.
And the wife of thy covenant.
And she's a wife because she's your people. She's part of the same covenant you're part of. You're the same race. Go ahead.
And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit. And wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth.
Right. I mean, marry your own kind is what God is saying. Go ahead.
For the Lord, the God of Israel, saith that he hateth putting away.
Israel was divorcing their women and marrying other races. That's what they were doing. Divorcing their own women and marrying other nations. Go ahead.
For one covereth violence.
God hates divorce. God hates divorce. Go ahead.
For one covereth violence with his garment.
Israel tried to use the Bible to justify dealing treacherously with their women. They used the Bible. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore, take heed to your spirit, that ye deal not treacherously.
Don't do that. Go ahead.
Ye have wearied the Lord with your words. Yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? When ye say, everyone that doeth evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delighteth in them. Or where is the God of judgment?
Right. That's what we rewarded evil with good. We said, what's wrong with this? Wrong with you marrying other nations? Nothing wrong with that. Like the pastor say today, we're all God's people. There's one race, the human race. That's nonsense. That's not biblical at all.
All is good in Jesus.
All is good, right? All is good and so forth. So again, that just goes to the Lord punish Levi for that nonsense. Okay?
And surely he's punishing them.
He's punishing them bad. Go back to Nelson again. I want page 283. We should have that. If you don't, then I'll just jump to next week. Do we have that? If we can get 283, I might just jump ahead and just... Huh? You don't got 283? No, sir. All right. So I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll wrap it up there for now. We'll go to page 283. I'll have you guys, I'll give it to y'all. The show ends. So hope you guys enjoyed the class. Hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Shout outs to the breakfast team. Shout outs to the IT team. They did an excellent job. And Lord's will, we'll see y'all next week with starting at page 283 of Nelson's. All right.
Yes, sir. Hey, Israel, let's give Deacon another hand. Every week, back to back with these great lessons, all right? I hope everybody's taking notes. Israel, if you miss anything from the class, remember, you can always go back to our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio, all right? You can watch all the latest episodes. Make sure you click the notification button so you know when we go live, all right? Also, don't forget to donate to Our Hidden History at IUIC.Philadelphia at IsraelUnite.org. Once again, IUIC.Philadelphia at IsraelUnite.org. Also, don't forget the Booster Club, IUIC.fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. Once again, IUIC.fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. All right? Deacon, I think that's it.
All right, so we'll see you next week. That we're going to say shalom. Till next time.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Now we going back, Peter on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure.